what diet is optimal as we age? What is going to bring us into old age as healthy, as strong, as flexible, and as mentally sharp as we really want to be? There is so much conflicting information out there. And over the last few years, I have delved into hundreds of hours of videos, of books, of research articles, and I've experimented with diets ranging all the way from vegan to carnivore. And I want to share with you my experiences and some of the things I've learned so that you can have a few takeaways to comprise your own best diet. My name is Danelle, and on this channel I'm building a community that is focused on being older and better. And I'll talk about some of the pros and cons of each of the things I've tried. I've tried Mediterranean, I've tried ketogenic, I've tried the whole food plant-based. Biggest difference between whole food plant-based and vegan. Vegan is an ethical stance. Whole food plant-based excludes animal foods, but it doesn't really have the big ethical stance. The diet I ended up enjoying the most, and that actually helped me lose about 20 lingering pounds that I'd had for years, was just simply a high protein diet. I found Ted Naiman on YouTube, and he is a doctor who works down in Seattle, Washington, and he focuses on, he calls it the PE diet, and that is the ratio of protein in your diet to energy being the fats and carbohydrates. The protein is the building blocks, the fats and carbohydrates are the energy that your body uses. If you're doing a ketogenic diet, your body's using fats for energy, and if you're doing a high carb diet, your body's going to be using more carbohydrates for energy. So I thought I'd mention the Mediterranean diet. That one is the one you see recommended pretty much everywhere. Everyone knows about the Mediterranean diet. A lot of people know about the blue zones, and that is just generally thought of as being the most healthy diet out there. It includes a lot of fish, whole grains, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and olive oil. It's quite famous for its use of olive oil. I didn't try that one for very long, and mostly it's because I found, one, I don't love fish very much, and even here in Alaska, fish is extremely expensive, so I had to resort to canned fish. I would just put a canned salmon on my salad. What I didn't love about Mediterranean diet probably the most is I'm an extremely lazy cook. I'm a very impatient cook, and most of the Mediterranean diet recipes seemed too complicated to me, or they had ingredients I can't get here in this small island town in Alaska. The next interesting one is the ketogenic diet. I've done a ton of research on that one. I have, I think, 3 books on the ketogenic diet. I have done a very strict, what's considered a therapeutic ketogenic diet before. I was really interested in the neurological benefits that a ketogenic diet can offer. That's a pretty old diet. It's an older diet than people realize. It's been around for about 100 years. It got started to help people with epilepsy. It can reduce the number of seizures that people with epilepsy have. And now there's been a lot of exciting research that's underway right now, and they're seeing some promising results in helping people with other brain disorders such as bipolar disease, schizophrenia, and they're even seeing some promising results with dementia. So it's also and that's where I'm interested. I am very interested in dementia prevention. So that's why I wanted to try it, and I'm still interested in it. There's a YouTube channel that I'll link below called Metabolic Mind, and they talk a lot about the neurological benefits that the ketogenic diet is being seen for people. There also is a researcher who wrote a book that I have named Dale Bredesen. It's called the Bredesen Protocol. He uses the ketogenic diet also to help people who are in the beginning stages of dementia to improve their symptoms. And the benefit of the ketogenic diet is thought to be that your brain is having a hard time utilizing the glucose in your body. So the ketogenic diet gives your brain an alternative fuel source in the ketones that your body produces when you're on a ketogenic diet. A lot of times people think that to be on a ketogenic diet, you're going to have to eat a lot of saturated fat and you're going to be risking cardiovascular disease. But you do not have to eat a high saturated fat ketogenic diet. You can eat any diet pattern that produces ketones. So you're going to need to eat very low carbohydrates. A therapeutic level would be 20 grams of carbohydrates maximum. And when I did it, I did not do net carbs. I did all the carbs. So that is hardly any carbohydrates at all. And you're going to need to eat high fat. And you can do that with unsaturated fats. You can do it on a vegan diet. I haven't tried keto on a vegan diet. It would be pretty tough to get your protein in. I think you would probably be leaning on tempeh and tofu for your protein. And there also is carnivore diet can also be ketogenic. Sometimes the trouble with the carnivore diet is that for a lot of people, if you eat too much protein, your body will convert through gluconeogenesis, can convert that protein into glucose, which can then lower your ketones, or for some people even knock you out of ketosis. So that can be tricky. The ketogenic diet, the advantage is you can eat lots of vegetables. I made a lot of salads and had a lot of vegetables on it. You can't have very many fruits. I would have tiny bit of berries or something like that. So it's pretty good. The one concern I had with it is I'd rather eat higher protein, being that I'm an older woman. Higher protein, there is some conflicting ideas out there about whether high protein is necessary as you grow older. The vegan doctors and researchers, there's some that are very against the idea of higher protein. They say that it's bad for longevity. But I would say the bulk of the research that I've seen is keeping your protein high is really good, especially as an older woman in menopause. The protein builds your bones. It's not just for muscle, builds your bones, builds your organs, and also builds your muscle. So the ketogenic diet offers a chance to get a lot of vegetables in, but because you're eating so many of your calories as fat has very, very few nutrients. So all that fat you're eating is replacing a lot of more nutrient-dense foods you could be eating. So that was kind of the downside. The major downside for me, and this doesn't happen to everybody I have learned, is my strength and energy really dropped. When I was doing a harder hike, I hike every day, and if I did a harder one, I just could not get up the hills, and I kept at it for about 4 months, and it became just untenable. I was dying just going up the smallest hill. So I let go of it. I've thought of trying keto again, but maybe bumping my carbohydrates up to maybe 50 grams instead of 20. So that's an experiment I might do in the future. Now my review of carnivore. Carnivore is a really weird diet, and I did that one also for about 4 months, and I have never been able to do an experiment with carnivore again. I've actually tried, because there are some benefits to carnivore. On carnivore, you're eating 0 fiber, so your guts just feel so calm, and you never get bloated, and your mood feels really calm, your blood sugar stays really level. I know there's a lot of people out there that fear that on carnivore you're going to get constipated and there's going to be no vitamin C. That's been extremely rare that I've seen that any person eating only animal products, even though they have extremely small amounts of vitamin C, has had any problems with scurvy. And the theory is that's because glucose competes with the same receptors as glucose does. So when you're eating glucose, the vitamin C is competing for those receptors, and so you need higher vitamin C. On a carnivore diet, you're having pretty much almost 0 glucose, so the tiny bit of vitamin C you are getting from the meat is getting in there, and it's sufficient. And there's quite a few carnivores out there that have been carnivore for 12, 15, even 20 years. If you look around online, around YouTube, you'll find them. And honestly, they look surprisingly good. But for me, carnivore just got so boring. It's really hard to make that diet interesting. I found a way to make some bread that was pretty good. It's fun to have a lot of butter, but what are you going to put the butter on? Just more meat. I don't know, some people really love it. It's super simple. I've also watched interviews with people who said that carnivore helped them overcome seriously disordered eating because the rails are just so strong. If it's not animal products, you don't eat it. So you can't go dig into the bag of Cheetos in your cabinet, and you can't binge on popcorn. You can't go have the ice cream. Now, there are some carnivore ice cream recipes out there. They don't have sugar, but it's a lot of cream. So there are ways to make it more interesting. My big concern with carnivore is I have tracked every single one of these diets on Chronometer. It's a great app. And when I tracked carnivore, it was concerning how many of the minerals and vitamins that I was low on. It's also concerning that there's no fiber. And a lot of the carnivore influencers will talk about how fiber just does nothing. It just helps you go to the bathroom. But that's not true. Fiber creates a lot of really beneficial things in your gut, like butyrate, things that help your brain, things that help your organs. Fiber is actually a lot more important than people want to give it benefit for. So I'm a little concerned about that. Everybody's concerned about the lack of fiber on carnivore. For some people, though, who have extremely bad autoimmune disorders, or they have disordered gut, maybe even Crohn's disease, things like that, carnivore can be like life-changing. Some people who have some of the autoimmune diseases I've seen people talk about having been improved or even have gone into remission is MS, severe psoriasis, all kinds of things. And a lot of people have lost 100 pounds or more carnivore. So a lot of people benefit from it, but I think it would be better to think of it as an elimination diet where you add in healthy foods a little bit at a time to see what you can tolerate, and get back to having something that's a little more balanced eventually. Then I come to the whole food plant-based diet, which is my most recent experiment, really. And a lot of people call it vegan. Again, vegan implies that you are doing it for environmental and ethical reasons to prevent cruelty to animals. So that is super honorable, and I really admire that. But for me, I'm experimenting for my health. I just wanted to be clear about that in case I have any vegans watching. And the thing that drew me to the whole food plant-based, I was very against that because I'd really been into a heavy meat-eating diet for a long time with the paleo and the low carb and even carnivore. So I just thought, oh, that has to be unhealthy. There's no animal products. But the more I looked into the research, there is so much research out there that I'd say the preponderance of evidence says plant-based diets, the people weigh less, their risk of cardiovascular disease is down, their diabetes rates are down. The studies show that the benefits of eating a plant-based diet are immense. So I couldn't resist trying, even though I had been so against it even a year before. So I did try it, and after years of low carbing, it almost felt like a miracle to me to be able to just have a bowl of oatmeal in the morning. I hadn't had hot cereal or any kind of grains in 20 years. So now I'm really loving having just oats. I've been having oat groats for my breakfast because I learned from my several books on plant-based eating that eating the grains in their most raw form is best. So I've been ordering groats to eat. Here's my most recent order that just came in today. Here's my bag of oat groats, and I love these. I cook these in my rice cooker. They make a big gooey mess, but oats are awesome. And if you make a big batch of them at a time, you can put the leftovers in the fridge, and then that increases the resistant starch, which is also really good for your gut. I love the variety on whole food plant-based. To me, a lot of the foods are new and novel and fun. Like tofu, I hadn't really eaten tempeh. Tahini, I'd never eaten tahini in my life before. So really this last year has been really fun with the whole food plant-based diet. I've been making bean stews. There's years I thought I could not eat beans. They made my stomach just hurt. And so I hadn't had beans for years either. So when I first started the plant-based diet, I would just eat little bits of them at a time. and little tiny amounts, and now I can eat beans. I used Chat GPT to make a bean stew that turned out so good. And I'm making hummus. I'd never had hummus before either, so I've been making an oil-free hummus to have on my own homemade bread. And stay tuned, because I plan to make videos on how to make my ridiculously easy whole wheat, whole grain, nuts and seeds bread. And I also will make a video on making hummus and maybe a couple of my other favorite go-to recipes that I've been loving. What I did when I started this higher protein approach is I aim for 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So I decided in my head, I kind of knew right around where I wanted to be. I decided about 115 to 120 would be my ideal body weight. I'm right in between there now. I was 118 this morning. And so I just decided to aim for 120 grams of protein a day. So I set that as my baseline, and then I fill in with the carbohydrates and fats. Now, carbohydrates and protein both have 4 calories per gram. Fat has 9 calories per gram. So if you set your fat really high, you're going to be eating a lot less food. And fat has been found in research to be the least satiating macronutrient, which is kind of why keto was hard too. I felt hungry often because you're eating so much fat. You just don't feel as full. The fiber helps with feeling full. But with the high protein diet, you're going to get a lot of protein. Protein is the most satiating nutrient. So you're going to feel full because of the protein, but also it allows you to eat a lot of fiber. So you can eat as many fruits and as many vegetables and grains as you want to fill up to your calories. Set the protein and then fill up the rest of your calories with the plant foods and the fats. And so it's not restrictive. It's delicious. It gives you tons of flexibility. And when I tracked this diet on Chronometer, this one really gave me the optimal numbers. It's easy to hit your vitamins, your minerals. It's easy for you to hit the fats that you need. It's easy for you to hit the protein that you need. And so I really liked it for that. On the plant-based diet, I was having troubles hitting my protein targets. There are some great channels out there. There's Simnet Nutrition, and he does some great high protein meal ideas. So you can hit your protein targets on a vegan diet. I just found that a lot of the time, because it's so high fiber, that I would be way too full before I got enough protein. So there's a lot of days now where actually most of my protein is more of a vegetarian approach. I'm not eating as much meat, but I'll fill up my protein with Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and eggs. And I've been making kefir lately. It's like a fermented milk drink. So I've been kind of filling in my protein with a lot of that. And then I'll sometimes make a chicken or a roast or something, but I'm eating a lot less meat due to my experiment with my plant-based diet. But you got to watch, if you're doing a purely animal-free diet, you must take B12. You probably should take iodine. Vitamin D can be tough to get on an animal-free diet, and iron. You can be low on iron. So you just got to kind of watch those. That's the hardest diet to balance everything to be as healthy as possible. You've really got to watch it, and you absolutely must supplement with vitamin B12. Thank you for watching this far. I'm going to put some links down below. Look for those. And lastly, I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to learn what you've tried, what has worked for you. Have you been able to lose weight or improve your health markers? And how have you done that? It would be awesome if we could all learn from each other. I'm constantly researching diet. I love researching diet. I love delving into it. I love reading. So I would love it if you would share your own tips, your own successes. That would be awesome. Thank you for watching, and take care.